Welcome to the adventures of Joni and Gordon, North Dakota and Canadian Park's epic road trip. Episode 10, Jasper National Park, Elk, Caribou, and Bears. Oh my! In the last episode, we drove the Icefields Parkway, which spans Banff National Park and Jasper National Park. In this episode, we are heading north to Jasper National Park. After our 144-mile drive on the Icefield Parkway, we pulled up to the Whistler Campground, which is just outside the town of Jasper. It is a fairly large campground, and we had no problem in late May getting a campsite. It was a nice campground with newly renovated bathrooms and really nice campsites. We set up our outdoor camp chairs and table, preparing for a nice evening with a cocktail and planning for the next day. We were sitting outside, and a herd of elk started walking into our backyard. They were snacking on the dandelions. It was apparent that they were used to people staying in their campground. After a snack, they laid under the trees and watched the people walk by. They visited us all 3 nights we stayed at the campground. The town of Jasper looks like a quaint ski town. It is a bit touristy, but also it just has a really cute small town feel. The permanent population is around 4,600 people, and Jasper was established in 1813 as a fur trading outpost of the Northwest Company. We found the residents to be very helpful and very friendly. Our LP tank switch corroded. My guess, it was due to getting stuck in the mud in the Badlands. See episode 2. We called Gretsch, the maker of our van, and they immediately called us back, after hours I might add, telling us how to bypass the switch. Thank you, Gretsch, for your fabulous service. We needed to fix the switch because without a functional LP on-off switch, and with the generator not working, we could only charge the batteries by plugging in the van to power or driving the van. Luckily, Jasper was a big enough town to have a building supply store. Gordon was able to find all the parts necessary to create a workaround for the switch until we returned home, which he fixed, by the way, in the parking lot, laying on a yoga mat under the van. RV repair at its finest. As I've said in previous videos, we love to spot wildlife. A park ranger we met at one of the campgrounds we were checking out on the Icefield Parkway told us, you have to drive Malign Lake Road. You will see tons of wildlife. Boy, did he give us some really good advice. We got up early, stopping in Jasper to get some Tim Hortons coffee and donuts, because we are in Canada, and we had to have our Tim Hortons fix. We made our way to Malign Lake Road, which is just north of town. Malign Lake Road is such a good drive that we did it 2 days in a row. The first sight we saw was Lake Edith, a very pretty lake surrounded by mountains. Continuing along the road, we saw bears, woodland caribou, mule deer, a moose, and bighorn sheep. We saw 2 bears on 2 separate occasions. Both were not huge bears, but not babies either. One had just swam in Lake Edith and was walking along the side of the road. And the other, well, it was up in a tree. The tourist had scared the poor thing, and it was hanging up there waiting for all of us to leave. The woodland caribou were huge, and they had new antlers growing. They were all fuzzy. They were snacking alongside the road. The moose was shy and hanging just inside the trees. We would have never seen him or her had it not been for a biologist we happened upon who was taking photos. We did not get a good photo, unfortunately, because it was shy and inside the trees, and all I got were a picture of trees. Again, we saw bighorn sheep. The sheep were walking down the road close to Lake Edith. A tour bus had stopped, and there were a lot of people taking photos of Lake Edith and the bighorn sheep, and there was even one girl who was standing right next to one of the bighorn sheep taking a selfie. Yep. Luckily, the sheep just stood there and kind of looked at her funny. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. At the end of Malign Lake Road is a beautiful lake called Malign Lake. As you can see, it is Another gorgeous turquoise lake in the Canadian Rockies with glaciers and mountains surrounding it. Just really, really pretty. The park ranger that suggested we drive Malign Lake Road also suggested we take a hike up to Moose Lake. It was an easy hike through a dense forest with very few people on the trail. We decided to take the approximately mile-long hike to see if we could spot some moose. The trail smelled fresh and clean with a hint of pine. Ah, fresh air. Apparently, the lake has a particular kind of grass that moose like, so they can be seen spotted snacking there. We didn't see any moose, but we enjoyed the hike very much. We met a young couple who were Instagram influencers from Germany who were traveling the world and had a nice conversation with them. Gordon decided that we were scaring the moose away, so he tried to disguise himself as a tree by putting pieces of pine tree in his hat. Good try, Gordon, but it didn't work. Jasper National Park was definitely one of our favorite places on our epic road trip. We met and talked to a lot of really nice people. Thank you for watching Episode 10, Jasper National Park. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy our videos. The next video, we'll be visiting Waterton Lakes National Park, the Canadian side of the U.S. Glacier National Park. If you haven't seen our last video, Episode 9, Wow, That's Pretty Tour, Driving Along the Icefields Parkway, here's a link. Thank you for watching.